Hi, I've just done this drawing. I found a picture similar to the one I did yesterday. I'm not sure if that's Glastonbury, I can't tell from the top. There's a frond of something here, a bit of a fence, the levels, or a bit of the levels, on this promontory here, this great hill, Glastonbury. Glastonbury Tor, I think it might be called. So I'll assume that's Glastonbury, and I might put a little tiny tower on the top of it to show Glastonbury. This is a early spring picture, but I'm going to make this a winter scene with the levels with quite a bit of water in here, but I'm showing less of the levels. Want more of a bright sky picture today. I'll give you a little spin around my little tiny bit of the studio here. I'll zoom out so you can see a bit more. Now I've got a box easel and I've got it laid down at about 35 degrees. There's my tray. It's a very dull, nasty day again today. I've got my painting desk here, great big office desk with the drawer that I've had in other drawers, and I've got my brushes on top of the palette from the box easel with my spare brushes, my rounds and flats and things. There's all my paints. I've got another couple of these. Now the paints are, if this is your first time looking, here's my palette. Lemon yellow, raw sienna, alizarin crimson, light red, ultramarine, burnt umber, Payne's grey and burnt sienna, my favourite colour. Colours I use fairly little, or not too often, is the alizarin crimson and the burnt umber. The other colours I'm using less raw sienna. I'm favouring the burnt sienna now, but it's an essential colour to get a variety in greens, and the Payne's grey mixes very well with the lemon yellow and the burnt sienna for making darks, or just a darkening and greying off a colour. It's a shortcut, but the ultramarine mixed with light red make lovely warm clouds. And light red used on its own in the sky, but very, very, very weak. It gives a nice warmth to the clouds. So we'll come out of that. I've got a cup of tea, the usual cup of tea on the go. So it's probably a bit too much paper showing. It's just that'll do. Right, I did a painting yesterday. I'll show you it in a minute. But I haven't uploaded it. I didn't think it was quite good enough. Well, they've got to be pretty bad for me not to put them on YouTube. But it was a picture of North Norfolk, a photograph I took years ago. None of my photographs of those old days are on digital or on the computer, so I have to show you actual photographs. But things are changing. But I might put it on. It doesn't look so bad on the filming, but on the video, I'll tell you this. I didn't have the mast coming down. The mast was at the sides of the boat rather than in the middle. But anyway, I've altered it, and it doesn't look too bad. Right, okay. A little sip of tea, then I'll get in with making this guy. I'm going to use my number 12. And number 10. These are the Sable synthetic mixes I got from Recab brushes. They're good for the price. I think that one cost £8, including postage, and the smaller one cost £7. And probably in the new year, which will be tomorrow, I will think about buying a much bigger one of these. Probably a number 16 or even a 20. To use more as a mop. I've got mop brushes, but they tend to be very, very soft, and I prefer a little bit of spring in the bristles. Well, bristles. So I just put a bit of water on. I just splash it about because this will give a bit of sparkle in the sky. I'm also going to wet the foreground because I want that to expand the same as the sky. That would be dry by the time or soaked in by the time I get to it. So let's just have a look, see where the shine is. So that should expand more or less uniformly. So I'll put a bit of nice ultramarine blue. Just clean my palette a little bit. from yesterday's efforts. This will be definitely the last one, I think, till Thursday, Friday. Right, fairly loose, but you'll find that where you have left the paper a bit dry, you get these lovely hard edges. So we'll just come down here a bit fainter blue, and in that I can put in some other colours, some warmer colours. In the photograph there's a fence here which I shall put in. So let's put in, now you need a cloth to take the excess moisture off your brush. Now a bit of light red, just to warm things up a bit. Now while the paint is a bit wet, you can drag it. Like these blues, you can soften them. This is a Bockingford £140. We'll get some colour in there. Just a tint. It'll dry lighter anyway. Right, there we are, coming on. Just a bit of lemon, bit of sienna in there, raw sienna, so we can just warm up the horizon a bit with the sienna. You'll find that when you look on the horizon, the atmosphere tends to change the colour to a sienna-y type of colour. Now I want some cloud, so we'll put in some very light, mostly blue, but I'm hoping to show you what I've been trying to explain, that don't want to put too much there because that's going to be covered up with a bit of a tree. But the blue tends to separate from the red and it gives a lovely texture, yes, it's sort of a granular effect. It's a happy accident really, but it's so effective. Great exploiter of that technique was, or that accident was Roland Hilder. But I think he broke all the rules. And a fantastic painter he was too. Right, a bit of lighter cloud here. Just coming up over the hill there. Right, now we've got quite what we call a complicated sky. Not because it was difficult, but because there's a lot going on. We've got a bit of blue, we've got some warm clouds, and we've got some darker clouds, but not too dark and threatening because we've had the storm. So we're just painting the aftermath of this storm here. So I will try and just reclip this, keep it as flat as I can, put it tight. The paper you can pull very tight. I got the Bockingford from Jackson Art. They're good company. I wanted a rougher paper for the dry brush effects, and this is very good. It's inexpensive. I bought 50 sheets of it, half imperial, so that's 22 inches by 15. You can do the maths for your conversion to metric, but that's what it is. And it was £36 including postage, and I thought that was very good. The Fabriano is also a very good wet in wet paper. It's a much cheaper paper. Well, it's cheaper, it's not that much cheaper. I paid £30 for 100 sheets of a quarter imperial, which are 15 by 11. But you can, if you've got the money, you can lash out on lovely arches, £300 weight. You'll never buckle that. You can do absolutely anything with it. Terrific paper, French. I love it when I've used it. Seems a shame to put any paint on it at all, really, because as Edward Weston used to say, the white sheet is the best painting he'd ever done. I proceeded to muck it up with the painting. Right, I'm going to put in some blue, just slightly darker than the sky, because I want to show some water this level here. just a bit of a flood. Right, okay, that will do. I can put a bit of lighter red in there to reflect what's above it there. So there'll be plenty of green in there. Right, let's do the background. Now, there's little difference in colour and tone between the foreground and the background, but I'm going to make it recede. So I want a bit of bluey green. Let's try that. That do. It comes right down there. Bit of blue green in there, and then it gently comes down with some trees on some of the slopes. Bit of sienna in there, I think. You see, this is where you start making things up and do your own thing, your own interpretation. Just dragging the colours down onto the horizon there. See, so I've got a bit of variety in there. Now, I don't need to take it any further than that because the trees, this bank of trees along the horizon here, are going to go into the landscape. So let's try it off a little bit. Now, with my smaller brush, I've lost it. I haven't found it. I've got this small number 6. I wish it had some more length to it, but I'm just going to put in some slightly darker trees on the outline of the slope. So I'm mixing the 3 primaries. So let's just put very tiny all the way across here, and there's some coming down here. That's probably just a little bit hard, so I'll just soften that off a bit. Just adding a bit of water to it, just to soften it. Just a little bit hard. And come across here as well. There's quite a few trees on this slope. I'm not sure if it is Glastonbury Tor, but it's just a Somerset Levels sort of, not typical because it's a very flat, plain, really lovely. There's an old monastery, there's a wonderful distillery, cider makers there. I'm pleased to say that somebody bought me a lovely bottle of apple brandy from the stills, very famous stills. I think Fifi and Josephine. They were made between the wars, First and Second World War, and the head distiller, probably might be the owner, takes great pride in explaining his babies to visitors. It's a smashing place if you're ever down there. Right, let's put in some trees along there now. So I'm going to use my primaries, red, blue, yellow, but quite stiff. And I just want to put in a bit too stiff. Just put in some trees along that horizon there. Need to be a little bit more. I'm using this, it's a good little brushes for this sort of thing. It's difficult to do with a hake. Right, just going along there. And try to keep them all looking a bit different. So the bigger one there. And then we come up with quite heavier trees here. Keep some air in the canopy, bird holes. Otherwise, leave enough air in your canopies for birds to fly through, bird holes. If you bear that in mind, you'll leave, rather than just solid clumps. Well, just very easy to do, just have fun with it. So there's plenty, but it's heavier down at the base of it, of course. So let's just put the darker stuff in there. There's all the shadow area. It's good to mix your three primaries to make your greens. It's good practice. Right, let me just come up here, just won't cover too much of this now. I want the background to show through. There. So far so good. Now we're coming along here. It's been a real struggle to try to speed up the hake paintings and then go back to this and then try to do them as quick. You just can't. You're using much more detail. Not so much impression as more representational. A friend of mine gave me a lovely book yesterday which I've started. It's an autobiography by Brian Sewell, who, for those that don't know him, he is one of our foremost art historians and a very, very famous art critic. Thinks very little of abstract modern art. Well, I don't need much there because I'm going to cover that. A man of strong opinions, but highly entertaining, wonderful way with words. But I think he's not very well at the moment. Right, let's just put a bit more strength in there. Because that needs to contrast with the flooded level. Right, okay. That's why I want that harder there. Deeper. I hope I'm not masking you. Okay, that will do for that. Quite pleased with that. That's quite a good start. It might be a little bit dull there, but that's okay. Right, now with my hake, still not going to abandon my lovely hake, I want to put in some greens. I'll use a bit of Payne's grey. There's a bit of a shortcut for that. So nice bright green. I will just put that coming across here. I won't go into that wet paint there. Got a bit of blue in that background, I think. Just to show the cooler colours receding there, and the brighter colours coming forward into here. So let's come into that. It's not a pond, it's really the water showing between the grass furrows. Oh, make it a little bit dark on there. There's the banks there. Right, get into this, and I can get some real hard stuff in. Where this little broken down fences, I'll make merry with that, I think. Right, over there. I might be able to put in just a little bit of reflection. No, it's probably too far away. Right, let's get some nice rich greens in there now. Add a bit of red in with it, just to warm things up a bit. There's this great paper of leaving sparkle. I can go over some of that sparkle with blues. I had no formal training, it probably shows, in painting. I just learned as I went along by doing a lot of it, belonging to a good art group at the time. Because they were such a size they could afford to have professional demonstrations. And you learn a lot from watching, well, I'm doing the same here, watching other people paint. But if you don't practice it, you never ever learn it. You never ever find out how to do it, to find that it's not as hard as it looks. Although I've said several times before that you never ever get as good as you want to be. Right, so a little contemplate. I was going with dark colours now, dark greens. But I think before I do, if I put in a grey, dark grey fence posts and things, I'll use a big flat for that. Warm it up with a bit of burnt umber. So we've got a couple there, and there's one going there, and another one in there, and that gets a bit obscured, that one, and then they come up. And then just broken down, a little bit obscured by the foliage I'm going to put in. Well, that I'll dry them off. There's some barbed wire there. Right, well that's finishing drying. I'll get my hake and I'll get in with the really dark greens now. And I'm going to mix in a bit of light red with that. That's it, right, let's get it. Yeah. And I'll go over this with even darker when that's a bit dried. See all these clumpy things. Might even do it with the rigger. So there's a lot of shadow where that tree is going to go. But I might modify the tree somewhat. Okay, it's coming on. Comes in. Right. It's a good bit of red in there. And you can always put in a bit of blue. Not that it'll show very much, but that'll do for a minute. Right. Get the rigger. I won't take the tree right up. I'll just get it coming up from here. Nice thick line with the rigger. Do you need plenty of water with it though? Otherwise, you'll run out after about half inch. So a good rich colour there. Exploit the roughness of the paper if you're going to use a rough paper. There's no point in soaking it all if you're not going to get the benefit of the surface. Lots of nice branches just flicked in. I'm going to cover that with some bit of foliage, bit of stuff. We can just flick in with our fingernail. Right, let's get in with the fun stuff. Nice, warm, greeny stuff. Just put in with the heel of the shoulder of the rigger, and get some. There, coming on. See that? Now this is pushing this further back now with all these lovely, rich, warm darks. say bags of damn all. Now this is where we want quite a bit of shadow colour. Right, let's put in a bit of the barbed wire. This one, right, now we've got some friendly fronds. Oh, that's going to have to be a bird. No. I don't want to cover up my front there, so we'll just put these in there. So you've got lots of thistles and stuff sticking up here, but you don't want to put them all in. Right, okay. Now I need to put in some greeny stuff on there. It's just with the rigger again. Oops. Can't be carried away there. Right, now, so just to put in a bit of greenery stuff on there to show that there's still something on the trees. It's fairly dark, otherwise it won't show up. Bit of blue in there. Blue will give us some idea of a bit of a session for the tree. It didn't really work there, but anyway. Right, all that needs now, I think, is just a little bit of branchy things in here. It's one of those trees that you get loads and loads of branches as if it's been pollarded on. Just right. So I'll find a place to put some sort of signature. Yeah, I could put a little bird in it. That's it. I was going to put a little town in, didn't I? Okay, that's who we call it, Glastonbury. Right, now I'll show you the photograph. It's fairly accurate. I've taken a lot of liberties with it as usual, but there's the, whoops, there's the photograph. Get a little clip and get them out. Put it up a little bit. That should do. Then we'll have a look at it and see what we've done. Yeah, that's about right. Yes. Okay, that is the Somerset Levels again, very similar to the one I did the other day, but showing less flood and a bit of foreground. There's the hill, the Tor. There's my dry brush effect. It's a bit twisted. Let's bring the camera around so we're more or less square. That's better. Okay. Let's zoom in a bit more. See, I've the roughness of the paper. There's my tree. You see, it gives a sparkle that you can't get on the smooth paper, and it looks lovely. And you have to exploit these things. Right, let's come out of it and have a look at the general view. Right, well, thanks for watching. Have a good evening and I wish you all a happy new year. Thanks again, bye bye.